Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Terrence Crawford returned this weekend. Not really sure what to think about Terrence Crawford and his performance, man. What I can say is Terrence Crawford definitely needed to knock that rust off, because that rust showed up in those early rounds. We know Terrence Crawford likes to start off slow and, like they say, he's downloading data, right? But let's be honest. If he would have been fighting Errol Spence, the way he performed, those first, the whole fight, that's not going to get the job done, okay? But to Bud Crawford's benefit, I have to commend him. He knew. See, this is the thing. Crawford knew not to fight Errol Spence after being out the ring almost a year, which was 13 months, but if they would have fought in October, November, it would have been nearing a year, right? He knew. See, that's one thing, man. I tell my sons this all the time. I was like, no one knows you like you know yourself. And I also tell them, no one's going to love you like you love yourself. I said, not even me and your mom. I was like, we love you, but you got to love yourself. You should love yourself more than what I love you, man. And you should know yourself a lot more than how anyone else in this world knows you. And when it comes to Terrence Crawford, obviously, that man loves himself, and he knows himself, and he knew getting in the ring with Errol Spence after whatever the inactivity, that wasn't going to get the job done. Because it doesn't matter if you're a Spence fan or if you're a Crawford fan. Let's just be fair. And I'm not trying to, have a balancing act going on this way and kind of be on Bud's side, Crawford. No, look, I don't give a shit, right? I like boxing. But let's be fair. Spence has proven that he can be out that ring from death and come back to life. And get in that ring after a layoff, after damn near death, right? Body banged up, okay? Physical trauma. And return to the ring and look better than he did before the damn accident. We need to pay attention to that. Now, I've gone on record and I've said Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence are the two number ones fighting for undisputed. I don't see Spence or Crawford as number one and the other as number two. I see them both as number one battling for the undisputed. Whoever wins that fight will become undisputed, and the other person, to me, will still be number one. And I've always said I think Crawford and Spence is 50-50, but I think Crawford wins because he fights with his eyes. What I mean by that is, you watching this fight this weekend. Avanesyan, although his output was very low, but he kept constant pressure on Crawford. That constant pressure does more sometimes than somebody throwing 80 punches around. Just somebody stalking you, walking you down, cutting the ring. For those of you who've boxed before, you know what I'm talking about. But those of you who haven't, I think you can understand. It's, that ring gets small real quick when they're cutting the ring off. But with Avanesyan, his output was low. But that still put pressure on Crawford. But Crawford, he was just there with his eyes, watching everything. Bink, bink. Just, some of his punches weren't to do anything. It was just to keep established range, keep Avanesyan thinking as well. Pit, pit, pat. Change up the punch selection, change up the speed, change up the power. And by the sixth round, he just set him up and got him out of there, man. Classic, man. 3-2, man. A 4-2. Uppercut, boom. Hook. 4-3. Do that 4-3, man. Uppercut, hook. And that hook was short. Got him out of there. Same shit he hit, what's his name, with Benavidez. But it was more like a 4-5 hook uppercut, man. Got Benavidez out of there. So when you think about it, we got to be real. A guy like Spence is going to do everything that Avanesyan did, but more and better. He is. He's not, don't get me wrong now. I'm not going to be wishy-washy and say I think Spence beats Crawford. What I'm saying is that fight is way closer. I always thought it was close, but that fight, man, it is not an easy fight for Terrence Crawford. And because he always starts off slow, I have to say this. How are we going to sit here and assume he's going to come out now, rounds 1 through 3, fighting Spence, and throw 60 to 100 punches around to keep Spence off him? That is not Crawford. Crawford will sit back, defense, eyes, watch you, let you throw shots, slip him, counter. He was getting hit with shots by slow Avanesyan. Now, maybe that can be attributed to the ring rust. I'm not sure. But when you're getting hit with shots like that by someone who shouldn't be touching you, I mean, that... Now, Avanesyan's ranked number 6. I'm not taking nothing from him, but really, he shouldn't have been touching Crawford. I was talking to somebody, and they were saying Crawford and Avanesyan was going to be tantamount to Mayweather and Cotto. Because you figure, Mayweather the boxer, Crawford the boxer. Avanesyan and Cotto cut you off, get hard shots. But Miguel Cotto was a totally different animal compared to Avanesyan. Let's be real. Miguel Cotto was elite. Bang your ass out with either hand, but that left hand was crazy. And he could box, okay? Mayweather was very sharp. Both of them were still pretty much in their prime. But Mayweather got hit with some shots because he chose to stay in the pocket. Mayweather didn't box that fight. But got to give a lot of credit to Miguel Cotto. But Spence and Avanesyan, I was arguing that that's not the same thing as Mayweather and Cotto. All right? First of all, Crawford's not Mayweather. Avanesyan's not Cotto. All right? But believe you me, if this fight this past weekend was Crawford versus Miguel Cotto, both in their primes, Cotto will beat almost all these guys. Right now. I mean, that Cotto in his prime, y'all can forget about that. Now, I still think Crawford is great, but when it comes to Errol Spence, we gotta really sit back and look at this. Errol Spence is coming out the gate, man, throwing goddamn 60, 100 punches around. Head, body, using those elbows, cutting the ring off, man. Stepping back, slipping, coming on the inside. Errol Spence is doing a lot on the front foot, which could be problematic because Crawford fights with his eyes. He's sharp with those hooks, sharp with those uppercuts. But I'm going to tell you this. I think Crawford will be losing the Spence fight until he turns southpaw. Once he turns southpaw, you guys ever notice that? It's like when Crawford's fighting orthodox, he doesn't get the job done. Y'all may say he looks like Big Daddy Kane. I don't think he like no damn Big Daddy Kane, but Big Daddy Kane say he got the job done, right? Crawford doesn't get the job done fighting out of the orthodox stance. But once he turns southpaw, it's almost like the knockout's coming. I mean, by this point, we all know, if we see Crawford turn southpaw, you should be saying, here comes the knockout. Whenever that man turns southpaw, come on, man. I was watching that Saturday laughing. I'm like, Crawford he didn't look that great. Orthodox. But once he went southpaw, I was like, shit, that's a wrap. It's over. It's a matter of time before he knocks him out. And then he knocked him out, and I was sitting here cracking up. Make you wonder, man, is Crawford good? Is he left-handed? I know he can fight both steps, but damn. You don't really get nobody knocked. You don't really knock anybody out from the orthodox position, but let him go southpaw. Once he goes southpaw, it's a wrap. So when he fights Spence better jump on him if he fights orthodox. If he comes out orthodox, Spence better jump on him. Because once he goes southpaw, but then again, let's be real. He's going southpaw against orthodox fighters. What happens when Crawford goes southpaw? Although he fights good at southpaw, he's not a natural southpaw against the natural southpaw Errol Spence. Southpaws don't like fighting southpaws. But what happens? Does that work for him? Because he got caught by Avanesyan when he was changing stances. Avanesyan timed it through an off-rhythm hook or jab or hook. No, he threw an off rhythm right hand. His guard was so high, so it came out kind of crazy. He threw it off rhythm. Like I didn't even expect him to throw that shot. And he caught Crawford changing stances. Let me tell you something. Crawford can't play with Spence. But all in all, I thought it was a good fight. But I'm telling y'all this right now. That fight is closer than ever right now. Crawford needed to get active. Spence needs to get active. You know, now this is the other thing. Spence was just in a car accident. Looked like he's doing okay, you know, little bumps and bruises, leg is sore. But other than that, he's all right. Jackass kid, 14, driving, no license. Fortunately, Spence's car was made out of iron, bulletproof. If it wasn't for that, a head-on collision, the way that car was still damaged, Spence would probably be out of here, man. Now, I can't say that who am I? I don't know what the big man has in store for anybody, but the way that looked, Spence would have been out of here, man. You know, so it's like Spence he needs to stay out of vehicles. He needs to figure out another means of transportation because that shit, it's like, boy, it's like they got that damn Grim Reaper just hanging around, waiting for him. Like him in car accidents, like that's become synonymous now. Like he needs to figure something out. Stay his ass at home because it's just sad to hear that within a couple of years, another horrible accident. Fortunately, the car reinforced with steel and everything and bulletproof. That's what saved his ass. But going forward, let me tell y'all, Spence is with BLK Prime now. This could be another video, but I'm going to give it to y'all in one sitting because I got this project management course that I'm doing. I got to get on there in like 20 minutes. Spence and Crawford, look, Crawford's on BLK Prime. They're paying this man $10 million. They're looking to do another event with him. Crawford is not going to fight Spence. Spence already said he doesn't need Crawford. Look, they don't need each other. They voiced that. The only reason they even looking to fight each other is for the undisputed distinction, but neither one care. They don't care. It's not Spence. It's not Crawford. I think initially, Crawford jumped ship because he didn't want to wait so long. I can't blame him, but, still wait 2 more months to fight Spence. But could you imagine if Crawford would have been waiting? Everything's going, and then boom, Spence gets in a car accident like that, and it throws it back even further. Crawford would have been kicking himself in the butt. But don't have any control over the future. You only worry about what you can control, right? But that ain't going to happen, man. Crawford's independent. He's independent now. He can pick and choose what he wants to do. And if these guys, if he's hooked up now where he's getting this kind of money, why come in here and fight Spence? His next fight, he may get $15 million, right? So let's just be real now, man. I don't fault him. I don't fault him. At this point now, I don't blame him. Why sit here, stress out, go out here and risk a loss, risk your leverage going into fights where you're getting 10 million, possibly 15 for the next, against Spence and lose it all? Or you go in there and you win. But I'm telling you, that ain't no easy fight. I don't care. Everybody's talking, oh, Crawford, man, he's pound for pound for a reason. Look what he did this weekend. Yo, look who he did it against. Don't get me wrong, I'm giving Avanesyan some credit, but come on. Like, let's hold your horses. If he would have did that to Boots, if he would have did that to Thurman, if he would have did that to Ortiz, if he would have did that to Yukas, Spence, Stan Eunice, Butev, give him some respect. But Avanesyan, give him a head nod for that. Okay? So let's not get caught up in the fact that he knocked this someone out who really he was supposed to. He did what he was supposed to. He closed the show. But as far as Crawford and Spence, I'm telling you, listening to Crawford, he don't have time to play games with nobody. Look, the ball's in his court. He's got all the leverage, and he's going to sit here and do what he wants, man. I'm talking about leverage against most fighters at welterweight. He can go ahead and pick just about anybody and make real money. Now, I still think he should fight Spence, but I'm telling you, I don't think it's going to happen. Plus, with Spence, Thurman, and Spence is inactive. You got to get the fight off the ground. Then you got all this crap going on with these sanctioning bodies and mandatories and who's the number one and lawsuits. And, you just have where Virgil Ortiz went and filed a lawsuit so he can be the mandatory for Spence. Stan Eunice filed a lawsuit so he can be the mandatory. So it's two different like lawsuits filed to position each of them for a shot at Spence. So that all fell through. Now Ortiz and Stan Eunice are fighting. Stan Eunice making almost 1.8 million to fight Ortiz. Ortiz getting over $500,000. And that's a fact. That's happening. De La Hoya won the purse bid on it. So they're going to be busy. You know what I mean? And then whoever wins that fight, they're going to be there looking at getting there with Spence. So what I'm saying is this, people. Crawford and Spence, I'm not sure I think that's really them first rounds. If Crawford comes out fighting like that, stab, jab, moving around, pivoting, and the stuff he was doing and kind of playing around or trying to get comfortable or getting some ring rust off, he can't do that against Spence. He's got to come in firing on all cylinders. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And we already know when Spence comes in the ring, it's no need to talk about what he can and can't do. We know what he does when he comes in the ring. Spence comes in the ring looking to just take your head off, man. Spence is no kidding, a real lion. And Crawford this past weekend, as the rounds went on, he started to pick it up. And he showed that, he has levels, he has dimensions, but he didn't come out there looking like a lion. Crawford came out there looking like he was more like a pussycat, like a little bobcat, the one with the little half the tail cut off. I'd be biting up people's bags of garbage in their front and backyard in California. But I'm just not sure Crawford clipped Spence, man. I don't know. Just watching that, Crawford looks like he's slowing a bit. And it could be due to the inactivity. But right now, I'm just saying, them early rounds with Crawford and Spence, it's going to be crazy. Especially if Crawford's fighting orthodox. He's fighting orthodox. Spence going to beat him down. He fights southpaw, maybe a matter of time. But then again, southpaw versus southpaw is different. So I don't know. So I got to wait and see. But a lot of people aren't saying Crawford beats Spence after this weekend. But I think we'll just wait and see until they get in the ring or Crawford's next fight. Maybe it was the inactivity. I don't know. But he didn't look spectacular to me. The knockout was spectacular, but he didn't look spectacular to me. And I like Crawford. I like Spence. But it's hard for me to sit here now and say within 8 or 9, Crawford at some point is going to catch up to him. If he is sitting there dragging his tail and he letting Spence get off on him like that, he's not going to be able to do anything because Spence is breaking you down, chopping you down. Crawford he swells easy. Crawford get hit, the way his cheekbones and just the whole structure of his face. He's going to get hit. He's going to swell. I'm telling you, we may see Crawford face swell for the first time or really swell up for the first time because Spence is nonstop. And that's going to make it interesting. So it's hard for me to say now because I just think Crawford is slipping just a bit. That's me. You may disagree. Leave it in the comments below. But that being said, Crawford, let's just be honest. Can Crawford really defeat Spence? The way he looked this weekend. Was that enough to get the ring rust for him to go into a fight with Spence next year? If it's even possible, which I don't think is going to happen. I don't know. I'm saying if he fights like he did in this fight, I'm saying that's not enough. But if he switches southpaw and he doesn't struggle against Spence, the natural southpaw, natural bigger man, we all know when Crawford goes southpaw, people get knocked out. The man has 10 consecutive knockouts. That shit matters. There's something special about his hands. But I'm just not sure because if he's getting touched up and getting banged up, all that coming back in 7, 8 rounds and having the strength and having the wherewithal and the stamina conditioning to do what he did this past weekend, it's not going to be there because Spence is going to beat some of that out of him. That's all I'm saying. So to try to look at this objectively and be fair and unbiased. But I think that both the number ones are battling for undisputed. Hopefully they'll make that fight. We'll see. That being said, keep cool in the breeze as always.